Have you ever spent any time in Loudoun County, Virginia?
Oh yeah.
It is a magical place.
Yeah.
Magical
is one way to put it. Yeah.
Oh, but I mean, like, when you understand that it's all military industrial contractors, lawyers, and behind every smile is someone funding or helping to bomb children in foreign countries and never declared war on, you go to the park and they're singing Disney songs and they're eating delicious food, and it looks like magic. But I imagine that if you could see into the souls of these people, not all of them, a lot of them are actually fans, but going down there and seeing just how beautiful everything is and knowing what funds it. Oh, man.
I literally
like
had
Tyson's, for instance.
I had a tweet like 2 weeks ago that says driving through Loudoun County is crazy because what do you mean you built a castle next to a gas station? Which is basically what it's like. It's like there's huge, just massive properties next to small businesses. And you realize that driving through there, driving through anywhere through Virginia, you're basically being propped up by all of the money that we, the taxpayers, have dumped back into it.
I wonder what's going to happen to this place. Loudoun's a big county, so it's not just like one town, right? You got Leesburg, there's Tyson's I mentioned, but Tyson's Corner is a crazy shopping center. And the money for all of this, not all of it, but a lot of it, is military-industrial complex, political lawyers, USAID funding, EPA funding, slush funds. It really doesn't seem like it's legitimate.
No, I mean, it's like art. It's all a fake shell game to make money. But that's what government is, right? Government, no matter how noble, I guess, its intentions, and it's not always noble, but even when it's in its best form, eventually becomes an engine to extract labor and wealth from the population. That's really what it is, right?
And that's gotten harder the larger the government has grown over time, which is why they're fighting so
right?
which is why they're fighting so hard.
Exactly. So that's why we created this. You know, government is if you look at government as an experiment over the course of human history, you can kind of see how it matures just like a human being would, right? It starts in this rudimentary phase that doesn't make a lot of sense, in the same way that our religions have evolved as well. So it starts where we see the natural forces that are happening. We're like, oh, that must be something bigger and more powerful than myself. So earthquakes, that's God. Lightning, that's God. The sun, the moon, all this stuff. And then you get a little bit farther down the rabbit hole in religion, and you start to ascribe like social controls to it, right? And when I say social controls, I mean like the aspects of human nature: love, hate, war, wine, whatever, right? And then you get a little farther down, you start to get to monotheism, which is like it's an individual with a personality, and really it's a mirror of yourself. That's the point of it, right? In the same way you see government as an experiment that happens over time. We tried this, we tried that. The Athenians, for example, tried a direct democracy for 2 years, and they were like, nope, this is stupid. You guys are too dumb. We can't do this. And then they tried some other stuff like representation without pay. So they had basically like a Congress, but no pay. And what they found was that only rich people were able to serve. So they only took care of rich people, right? So you had to make it such. And that's why, you know, when Congress asked for a raise, I'm like, yeah, do your job and I'll consider it, right? Yeah. But you can see it kind of grow up over time. And that's why we know that it's an experiment, because you can look, it is a testable hypothesis. Does communism work? No. We know it doesn't. So if anybody starts talking about communism or socialism, you can be like, hey, let me stop you right there, bud. I don't ever need to hear anything you say again, ever. Because you're not a smart person.
I mean, we talked about this the other night. The funny thing about communism is that its fundamental precept is basic arithmetic that is wrong. So when they say from each according to their ability to each according to their need, you're basically saying we've got 10 people in a room. Half of them consume more than they produce. The other half sustain themselves. It's like, okay, that's called net negative. Yeah. And you will all starve to death. And then when you do that basic, 1 plus -1 equals 0, you realize if you implement communism, everyone dies. And then surprisingly to these people, whenever they try communism, everybody starves.
Yeah, it's wild how that works out. And so back to the point, even in the noblest form of government, which is the one we have, I think, still it doesn't scale indefinitely. It can't. That's why we created federalism, to send power back to the lowest possible level. That makes the most sense. But even then, it doesn't work because we don't operate it in that way. And that's because of all of us, by the way. And I don't mean just the 5 of us in this room, just every American who thought it was okay to, because I have an iPad and Hot Pockets, to not pay attention to what's going on with my money in Washington. And we did that for a very long time. Eisenhower warned us about it in the 50s, and we paid no attention to him. right? We just kind of went on about our business and let it grow and grow and grow. And now it's going to be very difficult to unseat some of this stuff.
And one of the things I find most interesting, like USAID and like Doge is kind of exposing right now, is people have been propagandized so much by these organizations that are likely funded from institutions with our tax dollars that they've propagandized people into believing that firing inefficient government employees is actually a bad thing. And you're seeing the death throes of that last 70 years of poor, inefficient government, but fantastic propaganda, reeling its ugly head and showing people that they don't really understand the scale of which the rot is within the government.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.